bring us in 3, 2, 1. Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Never Sold Out podcast. This is Andrew, and Nick is here as always. And we're joined again by Eric, who will be here whenever the fuck he feels like.
Yep.
So today, we actually have a really, really good one going on here. Because we are going to talk about our top 5 video games, our top 5 TV shows, and our top 5 movies of all time. So there was no restrictions unless people personally set a restriction on their criteria, which each of us will discuss when we go over each part that we're going over. But before we go into it, I just want to check in how you guys are doing. You guys enjoying the COVID life again?
More sometimes it gets a little depressing.
Yeah, at least the weather's getting nicer though. That kind of helps.
I think the biggest thing is trying to set a routine to kind of make
Yes.
it obviously Saturday nights is always kind of cool because I know Sunday morning I have this with you guys,
Right.
This has become something like a new norm for me. Every morning me and Jen wake up, we always get coffee at Dunkin' Donuts. Sometimes we switch it up, maybe do Starbucks, but that's one of our routines. So it's just trying to find a new routine. But then there's parts of the day where it just kind of sucks. It's you probably want to see your friends and family,
Right.
and there's only so much a webcam can give you, So, but I gotta be honest though, I say it I feel like every week since we've done this show, I can't complain too much because I'm safe, so it's all good. Boredom means safety.
Exactly.
That's what they tell us.
Yep. That is true.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get this thing started. I will start us off, and we're going to talk about our top 5 video games. So for this one, the only criteria that I had was I can't have multiple in the same franchise. As everyone knows from the previous podcast, I'm a huge Assassin's Creed fan, and that would have just clogged up my entire top 5. So I didn't want to have that, and it also made it more difficult for 2 other ones on the list. So we'll just start off. I didn't really put them in any particular order, but I'll kind of make it up as I go. So my number 5 video game of all time, I'll count down from 5 to 1, is Minecraft. I spent way too many hours playing Minecraft, and I really enjoy it. It's one of those games that you can just kind of throw on, be completely mindless, and do whatever the fuck you want, and I like that. It's really enjoyable. So that was my number 5 game. I don't know how you guys feel about Minecraft. I know Nick's played it with me several times.
You just have to wait and see my list, I guess.
Okay, all right.
I've never played it, but I've watched other people play it.
Spoilers.
I never got into it because I knew it would just take over my life.
It's real, dude. It's not even it doesn't necessarily I think right now it's the perfect game.
Yeah.
Because it is kind of mindless. You don't have
Right.
to really think about too much. There's no set objective unless you make one.
Yeah, of course.
I was telling Andrew, I haven't played in a week or two, but I was playing early on during the pandemic, and I was building a city in the sky.
Nice.
So it kept me busy. But well, you guys know me. I don't even like rules.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's why I like Minecraft, because there's no set rules. It's open world. It's fun. And now, have you played recently, Andrew?
I haven't played it in probably a year or so.
They have pillagers now.
Oh yeah. I saw videos on that. It looks really cool.
They're freaky, man. They're weirdos. They'll just stare at you until they decide to kill you. I'm like, oh god.
Right. Yeah, I know that they've revamped a lot of things recently. I know the Nether got an overhaul, which was badly needed because it was the worst part about the game.
Yeah.
So Minecraft, when I was doing my gaming YouTube, that took up a lot of my time on that channel.
I liked it though.
Yeah, no.
Cool.
It's fun. I think the concept of it is really cool. How people could just start their own servers and you can do whatever you want on there. Or there's set games, they have the Hunger Games style. They have all these mini games that you could play. Yeah,
And did it have Mass Effect as well.
Yeah, a
Nice.
bunch of different mods that you can do. It's just a really cool game, and most people relate it to children, but you'd be surprised at the numbers of how many adults actually play.
Exactly.
For whatever reason, I forgot like what my skin was. So like when I went back, because it was like I don't know, it's probably about like a year since when I played last, right? And I go on there, and I don't know why I think it's so funny, but my skin was Hellboy.
Right.
That's pretty
That's
awesome.
funny.
Why
It was
not?
so random. Like, I thought like my skin was gonna be either like Negan from The Walking Dead or Leon Kennedy from Resident Evil. Because
Right.
those are the two I kind of did. I never remember even switching to Hellboy, but apparently I did.
That's hilarious.
And because like they're looking at my icon, they're like, oh, it's someone red. So I'm like trying to wonder what it is. I'm like, oh, it's Darth Maul, right? It has to be
Yeah.
Darth Maul. And then I look, I'm like, Hellboy, what the fuck?
Yeah, I think that's great. Mine's probably Assassin's Creed, if I had to guess.
Yeah.
All right, so then I'll go on to my next one, which is GTA 3.
Ooh.
I love that one.
So the Grand Theft Auto franchise is great. I played a good amount of them. I haven't played all of them. I think I skipped 4, but I played Vice City and San Andreas and
4 sucked.
yeah. So I mean, I'm not too bent out of shape about that one. It was a really hard decision between 3 and 5.
I knew you were going to say 3 or 5.
That's what I thought too.
They were the holy grail of those types of games where you could just go on, have a blast. The reason that I chose GTA 3 is mostly nostalgia, because of growing up, and you just hop on there, you throw on a bunch of cheats, and just go around the city causing terror. And like, I was one of the weird people that actually ended up beating the game because, like, I actually wanted to unlock the other islands instead of cheating there and flying there like everyone else did.
Yeah.
So and I was young at that time. I think I was like in middle school, so probably shouldn't have been playing that game. But
No, you 100% should have.
Listen, the worst thing to have is beat up a hooker on the game. All right.
That's true.
Exactly. I mean, you could do what that one like 7-year-old kid did. Just go around and help all the police officers and
That's true.
arrest all the criminals.
See,
That's true.
That's wholesome.
What's funny, the only GTA games I own on my PS4 is 3 and San Andreas.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, if you ever want to get into it and play GTA 5, it's worth the investment. It's a really great story mode. Like, you don't even have to play the multiplayer, just play the story mode. It's worth the money in that.
Well, I like the actor that plays Trevor.
Yeah.
He's from The Walking Dead, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, that whole game was great. One thing I really liked about GTA 3, it's more of a personal story, is that we lied to my dad and didn't tell him exactly what the game was about when we bought our PlayStation.
Right on.
Because we went out and we bought a PlayStation 2, and we purposely went with my dad because we knew that he was oblivious. And yeah, so we didn't tell him, and then when my mom found out, like a year or 2 later, she made us get rid of the game. But at that point, it was just like, okay, well, we got rid of it, but we're just gonna get it again. So
Yeah.
Such a good game.
yeah,
I remember playing that game in your basement.
yeah, no, it's so great.
I remember playing that game down the street from both of your houses at DJ's house.
Right.
Yo, yeah. Yeah, that was when that was back in the days when you ran up to me and Andrew in my driveway saying,
We
"Have I
saw
seen
a wolf in the woods.
Yeah, I was like, all right, good luck to you, kid.
See you later.
Say, we were weird kids.
We weren't exactly normal either, okay?
No. We were probably doing lightsaber battles or something in the front yard of Nick's house, so
Me, I was doing that 2 years ago.
Yeah, but so was I.
I don't see an issue.
No,
No.
not at all. But to get back to where we were, GTA 3 is fantastic.
Yeah.
Great choice.
So the next one is out of the Call of Duty franchise, and this one's Call of Duty Black Ops 2.
Okay.
It was a tough decision on this one as well between the original Black Ops and Black Ops 2. I just love the games that Treyarch makes. I don't think any other Call of Duty studio makes games quite like them. everyone always praises the Modern Warfare franchise, but I just thought that their games were pretty lackluster. The multiplayer wasn't as fun, and there was no zombies mode in their games. They tried it with like
Aliens, right?
they were doing like a horde. It was like an alien infection or something like that, and it just wasn't the same. It wasn't as good. So Black Ops 2, again, that was when the multiplayer for Call of Duty blew up. Like, that was when the YouTube scene for Call of Duty multiplayer was huge. That was when zombies started getting like a crazy storyline, following the events that happened in Black Ops 1 Zombies. And that's kind of what changed my perspective on console gaming as a whole, because before that, the only console games that I really played were the original Black Ops for a short amount of time, and like Assassin's Creed. Because before that, I played World of Warcraft nonstop. So once Black Ops 2 came out, I was a console gamer for the next 4 or 5 years, and then went back to PC.
Nice. I never personally played any Call of Duties except whatever. I think we played Call of Duty once at your house, and I sat there for like 20 minutes to shoot that dude in the staircase.
Yeah, that was Black Ops 2.
Yeah, so that game was awesome. Got one kill. I died, I think, like 25 times, but I got that son of a bitch.
Right?
I got him.
You did.
And I shot his body the whole time.
And then he came up and killed you again.
He was a real piece of shit.
Right?
But I'm not gonna lie. It's something I have, especially after our last conversation we had when Eric was last on the show, when you guys were talking about like George Romero and stuff. Like it makes me want to go back. I'm sure it's on the PS4 store.
Mm-hmm.
And play. You know, mainly the zombie storylines because I think it sounds cool. It might be something interesting for me to do. So yeah.
No, it's worth it.
Up your alley.
So then the next one's going to take us back even further than GTA 3 took us back. This one's Banjo-Kazooie for the N64.
Yeah, that game was sick.
I've played that since I was a kid.
Yeah.
It was dope, dude.
Yeah. Banjo-Kazooie is just a classic in terms of the world that they created. The sequels that came after were really good. I even loved this game so much that when they came out with it for the Xbox, as Microsoft bought Rare Studio, who made Banjo-Kazooie and all the classics like GoldenEye and everything.
GoldenEye.
Yeah.
Yep.
So they bought Rare, and they released a bunch of Rare games on the Xbox, so I bought all that. Actually, GoldenEye might not have been Rare, but whatever, it doesn't matter. Yeah. So, Banjo-Kazooie, I still wish, at this point, because I love playing on my Switch so much, that I wish that somehow they would get Banjo-Kazooie onto the Switch, other than being in Smash Bros., which is cool on its own. But the game itself, I think I've played through it like 5 or 6 times, and that was when I was a kid. So I just love the game. I think it's a unique like look at how that type of game should be played. It was around the time when like Spyro was a big game, and yeah.
Good stuff too.
So like Spyro was like really big for PlayStation, but the only thing that you had on Nintendo usually was Mario. And then they came out with this game that was just, there was so much musical aspect to it, there was so much theming aspect to it, and it was, I think it's what I would consider one of the masterpieces of N64.
Oh, 100%.
So then that brings us down to the obvious number one, Assassin's Creed Revelations, which I will rant and rave about until the end of time. And any Assassin's Creed fan who doesn't like Revelations probably didn't understand the story as well as they should have. And I would ask them to go back and take a look at the game, because it's beautiful from beginning to end. The graphics were insane for the time. It was before the next generation of consoles came out. That was Xbox 360. So they were pushing the boundaries on that. The music, of course, Assassin's Creed is known for their wonderful music, and I wish when all this COVID stuff dies down, that the Assassin's Creed Symphony would come around, because I would go see them in a heartbeat. But yeah, so obvious number one for me.
I knew it was gonna be one of the Assassin's Creed games.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, even now, like with the announcement of Assassin's Creed Valhalla,
Yeah. Let's
that
go.
yeah. No, I don't know if either one of you watched the trailer for it, but
Nah.
I haven't yet, but I've seen, like I told you, I've seen the screen captures, which looks really dope.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
all I've seen too on YouTube.
yeah, I would recommend watching the trailer. Ubisoft has always been perfect with their trailers, and this game's no exception. It looks really badass. It looks really brutal. It looks also very humane at the same time, because you can hear, just to give a trailer spoiler, is you hear like in England, someone from England, and I'm assuming it's the King of England at the time, talking about how the Vikings are savages and brutal, and they're gonna just come in and pillage and rape and do all these things, and I don't even know if I could say the R word on Twitch, but I don't care.
We're gonna
But-
find out.
But basically, he's saying all these terrible things, but you're seeing images of them being like friendly and not slaughtering women and children, and like letting them go, even though they're ransacking the town. They're letting the women and children go. It's going to bring more of like a humane perspective to the Vikings' life. Yeah. Because I think a lot of people get lost in thinking that Vikings are these savages who have horns on their helmets, even though most of the facts say that they didn't even have horn helmets at all.
They had helmets.
Yeah,
No, they did have helmets. They were more like thick leather and like whatever. I think bronze they were
Right.
using at that time, whatever metal.
And
But
you also got to go ahead, Eric. I'm sorry.
No, I was gonna say, like, I think this game will help people understand Vikings better, because that's one of the civilizations people really don't fully understand.
right,
And they just see like rape, pillage, and horns on the helmets.
right.
But even still, though, it's like look at the time period, though.
Yeah.
Like, look at their way of life. It was a
It was
warrior's
brutal.
way of life, and in their eyes, that was their reward.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, obviously nowadays it's like they'd just be sick perverts and savages, but like back then, that was their life, But it is cool to see an opposite perspective. But like, I'd recommend you guys watching the show Vikings.
I hear good
I've been
things.
wanting to.
It's really good. They kind of like play into like like the pillaging and stuff, but like even like it get like I guess to a point like a later season where like they start to realize that it's wrong,
Right.
and like some girls are kind of like saved from it for the most
Mhm.
part. But like you see them like fight for that way of life, like even like to their own women, they'll do it. If they like, what I mean, like men were king in that time period.
Oh, yeah.
The show is fantastic, and it kind of shows you like they don't ever. I don't think they ever had the horns on their helmet throughout the whole show. I haven't finished it, but yeah, it's a really really phenomenal show, Vikings, and eventually I will finish it. But
Yeah.
dude, seriously, you guys gotta watch Vikings, especially like if you're into that type of culture. It's such a good show.
Right. Yeah, I think like from an Assassin's Creed perspective, they always like to take the history. They skew it a little bit and do their own take, right? But like I think what it's gonna do is just for me, I love the historical aspects of the game. So when I'm playing Odyssey right now, like I look at it and I'm like, I never actually knew anything about the Greek world back then and how it was. And now I sort of have an understanding of how it was. It's not going to be a perfect understanding, but it gives me like more knowledge that I like to learn about. And this will just dive into that as well, because I mean, people still contest thinking that the Vikings didn't discover America before Christopher Columbus, when they in fact did. And yeah, exactly. So
I'd rather celebrate Vikings than that.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
please. Happy Leif
You wanna talk
Erikson
about-
Day.
You want to talk about a terrible person?
Oh God, don't even get us started.
Good ding, good dargan.
Yeah, that's another subject.
Oh yeah.
All right, so that's my top 5 video games. Let's move on to Eric and see what he's got.
Now, none of these are in any specific order.
Okay.
I actually thought this would be my hardest list because I'm not like the biggest gamer anymore. Like when I was in school, I gamed a lot, and now as an adult, I go through phases where I'll just 3 months straight at gaming, and then I won't touch my Xbox for like a year.
It happens.
Yeah. So, but yeah, no order. I'll just go from the top and go down. Star Wars Battlefront 2 on Xbox One, just because that was the game I was most obsessed with this generation.
Battlefront
It's a
2
good
was
game.
fantastic.
Storyline was good.
Oh, I didn't care about the campaign or story or whatever. I just wanted to go online and just destroy people.
Yeah, it is fun, and you
Oh,
have
yeah.
way more characters this time.
Oh yeah, everything was improved. Like it looked better. The sounds were better. The gaming mechanics in general, I like a lot better too.
Mhm.
Count Dooku was amazing.
No, Sidious was the most OP character in that game.
I thought he was more OP than the last Battlefront.
Yes, he was.
Because he was like, he put like electrical out there, like it's like electrical powers, and people were like, oh shit, like this
Right.
guy. And this one, it took longer to kill him. I felt in this.
He was the hardest one to run from, hardest one to kill. Like when it popped up on the map, like, oh, hero is here, and then you find out it's Sidious. You're just like, run away!
Yeah, hide. Yeah, that game is sick, man. I will say, Battlefront 2 that's a phenomenal game.
Plus the maps, I love how improved they were from the first Battlefront. Not the original one from PS2, of course. That one's a masterpiece in itself.
Right. We'll leave that one untouched because that was just so good.
Yes. But
I would recommend playing the story mode.
Oh yeah.
I'll give it a shot. I still have it. What happened was I suck at like flying things in games, planes, TIE fighters, and all that. So when I got to that level, what was it, the second level trying to escape? Like I was like, all right, I'm done. Let's go hop on multiplayer.
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna lie. Like, there's one you have to like take out cannons on a Star Destroyer.
Yep, that's where I gave up.
I hit that Star Destroyer so many times. Oh, no, Eric, I know your frustration.
I believe it. Yeah.
Hard as shit. Yeah, but I did get past it. It took me a million tries, but I did get past it.
Yeah.
It gets really cool.
Maybe I'll get back into it.
Yeah.
Especially since I got nothing else to do. I might as well.
It's a really, really great game, and like you get to play as like Leia.
All the different Lando is actually like one of the more OP on the light side. It's pretty crazy.
And it was kind of cool to like fill in that gap between Jedi, Return of the Jedi, and then and Force Awakens. It was kind of cool to kind of get some story between that. Like I highly recommend, especially if you love the multiplayer. And if you're good at the multiplayer, there's no reason why you won't be good at this. But like the flying is hard. Flying is very hard.
Yeah, I definitely recommend the game. It's what's it been out like 2-3 years now?
It's the only I only own 3 physical games, but that's one of them, and that's the only one I played. The other 2, they just sit there because I don't want to play them.
Yeah, no, I hear you. But yeah, that's one of them.
My headphones are actually for Battlefront.
Oh, nice. Oh, I'm jealous. You'll notice in my list, like for some reason, I put a lot of 2s in this. For some reason, I like the second game in a franchise.
Well,
so
you, bro.
Yeah. So my second one is from GameCube days, Tony Hawk's Underground 2. Just because I put too many hours into that game, dude. Like I would always choose to play as Ben Franklin and just skate around.
That's true.
I think I spent more time creating my own skate parks than actually skating in the game.
No, I love those games.
Oh yeah.
Those games were so good, and it literally could take up your time for hours. And like, especially when you're in the city and you find that cool skate spot.
Right.
It like has a really cool rail, has a lot of stairs. Like, oh my! I wish so bad if they would make one of those for like these next gens.
Yes.
Well, they made a pro skater, Tony Hawk Pro Skater 5 a few years ago, and it was awful. It was one of the worst games that I've ever played.
I'd rather them just remake like Tony Hawk Underground 2 or some shit.
Right.
Yeah.
Like,
or American Wasteland.
So yeah, American Wasteland was great.
Yes.
Yeah, those games are so fun.
I loved Underground 2 so much as a kid. I had it for both GameCube and Game Boy Advanced SP, or Game Boy Advanced, or whatever it was. Just because I was obsessed with it. Plus, you remember, Nick, maybe more so than Andrew, but like at that time, actually, I didn't know Andrew at that time, because that's like middle school.
Right.
But at that time, I was kind of heavy into skateboarding in general. So
Yep.
like anything having to do with that, especially games, yeah, I was all about it.
Yeah, I know that time period exactly because
You were the same way.
I was a skater, and you played Tony Hawk Pro Skater, and you watched Viva La Bam.
Yep. In fact, Viva La Bam would have been on my TV show list, but yeah, I'll get to why that's not going to be on the list when we get to that list.
Yeah, it's not on my list either.
Me either.
Classic.
Yeah, it's cool. It's a shame what happened to that guy.
Right.
Oh, I know. So next up, Gears of War 2.
Hold on, not to interrupt, because I have a story about Bam Margera, actually.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was at a convention, and he was a guest. Now, more people were there to meet Phil, his father, than Bam.
Because
like,
Phil's awesome.
Yeah, well, like, Phil literally sat there the whole... Because normally when you were there, you're a guest at a convention, you're at that table from the start to finish.
Yes.
I think I saw Bam there twice, but his dad never left that table, and he had more people asking for autographs than his own son.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that really says something.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then again, it's also the Bam of now and not the Bam of like 2003, 2004.
Right.
Yeah, and our generation, the ones that loved him are the ones that now realize how much of a piece of garbage he is. So
yeah. But then again, like, yeah, he was always like an asshole, but he didn't start getting crazy until after Dunn died, and I don't want to put Dunn's death on the reason of why Bam ended up like this, but you guys know how tragic events affect people.
No, I get it.
It affects people different ways.
No, I'm happy you told me that story. That's pretty awesome. But Gears of War 2.
Okay.
It's my favorite out of the Gears series. I think Gears is easily my top 5 favorite video game franchises.
Okay.
I just got done playing 5. I enjoyed that. I think that was maybe like a month ago I finished it. But Gears 2, I just liked how it really expanded more on everything going on with the locusts. The creatures were getting crazy, or aliens. They were getting crazier. My favorite level on there was actually in the beginning, where you got to go through that highway tunnel, and everything's just coming at you.
Right.
I don't know, I just got a lot of good memories with that game.
I think that's either that one or the third one. I can't remember which one is the only Gears of War that I actually played.
Okay.
I've never played a single Gears of War, so I have no idea.
Well, Nick, you're actually the one that got me into Gears of War, because when you hooked me up with that 360, we went to GameStop. You're like, get Gears of War, because it was like, I think the second one just came out, and the first one, it was what, like $5? I was able to afford it.
Because I knew it was a popular game. Like, everybody I knew played it.
It was Game of the Year that year.
Yeah, and I think you got the Game of the Year edition, if I'm
I
not
did.
When that actually meant something.
Yeah, exactly. Now it means nothing.
Well, I remember, like, those Game of the Year 360s, like, cases were always, like, the gray ones.
Yeah.
And they really were, like, great games, like Dead Space,
Yep.
Dead Rising, Gears. Like, there was
Mass Effect.
Mass Effect. There's actually some, like you just said, like, when you saw that, you knew that was a good game.
Right.
Yes. Nowadays, you don't get any of that, which is a shame.
Games. I feel like, I mean, again, I'm not a huge gamer, so you guys can tell me otherwise, mainly Andrew, but, like, I feel like any game that comes out, like, nothing has really, like, stuck out to me that I'm like, I have to go buy that game.
Nah, yeah, it's not what it used to be. It's not, you don't get the same hype as you used to get. Like, nowadays, these companies are just putting out games because they want people to get in there and do microtransactions and do all these little things.
Yep.
And they don't focus on the actual game itself. They just focus on adding additional content, which I get, because, I mean, I play Counter-Strike, so obviously I know all about the microtransactions. Yep. I love some gun skins and knife skins in that game. But it's just like, a lot of companies just don't focus on the content. They focus on the additional content that they can make more money on.
Yes.
And whereas when we were growing up and when video games were first coming out, they focused on the game. And they focused on making sure that was a polished piece of work that they were presenting to their audience, and not worrying about putting it out and then day one you have to download like 3 updates to fix all the issues that were wrong with it.
Always.
And it's like, where did we go wrong? Was it just because the market grew so big that people just got too greedy, or like it's awful?
Yeah.
But
it is.
But that's why doing stuff like this and looking back at your favorite games makes you realize how good they were.
My list has nothing from this current generation.
There
Nothing.
you go.
And
There
like
you go.
there's only 2 games that I absolutely love from this generation. Unfortunately, I didn't play them, so that's why they're not on my list. I watched my friend play them over Twitch because I suck at video games.
Yeah.
And that's Jedi Fallen Order, which was
Okay.
like some of the most beautiful Star Wars storytelling I've ever seen. I loved it so much that I bought the Art of the Fallen Order book at Barnes and Noble. I mean, I probably like at that year was the year it was last year. So Rise of Skywalker came out, The Mandalorian came out, and Jedi Fallen Order came out.
Mhm.
Obviously, Mandalorian is my favorite of the year, but Jedi Fallen Order, I love the story more than I loved Rise of Skywalker, and I love that movie, by the way. But the Jedi Fallen Order was just so amazing. It's not even funny. And then the other one was one I just recently watched my buddy Nico play, which I hope to get him on the show eventually. And that was Resident Evil 3 Nemesis.
Yeah.
That game was so cool because I'm such a big Resident Evil fan from the movies and the TV shows. That game was sick, but again, I didn't play them personally, so they're not on my list.
Right.
Go ahead, Morley. I'm sorry, bud.
Oh, you're good, bro. You're good. Yeah, I think I said everything I had to say about Gears 2, honestly.
There you go.
But PS1, the third Spyro game.
Okay.
Whatever the rest of the title is, I forget it at the moment. But that was the Spyro game that I played the most. It's more of like a personal thing for me because like whenever I would go visit my grandma, she had the PS1 in the front bedroom with all the Spyro games, Crash Bandicoot games.
Yep.
And the Spyro ones were what I played the most. She would come in,
Yeah.
watch me and all that. So that was a big part of my childhood, those games.
Right.
It's also such a great game in general. Like I remember as a kid playing Spyro, just flying around and meeting like going up to the big dragons and they talk to you.
Right.
That was just so cool. Just flying Spyro as a dragon. Like,
Yeah,
such a great game.
The villains were memorable, like Nasty Nork and
Yep.
oh my god, I can't remember the other ones to say
Yeah,
my life.
that was
They're so memorable. I can't remember the other ones.
I know. I'm such a terrible person.
That's all right. We love you, Eric. That's why we love you, bud.
looks like that one was Year of the Dragon.
Yeah, because you had to go around and collect all the dragon eggs.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a great game.
Yeah, the worlds I think are the best out of all 3 of the games. The music I love.
Mhm.
And then just to go back to that time period with skateboarding, that game had 2 skate parks in it.
That's true.
That's cool. Yeah.
So yeah, there you go. That's another one, and then I'll finish on this one. This is going back to GameCube as well. Call of Duty Finest Hour.
Oh, Finest Hour. That's a good one.
That's back before they had the multiplayer on. Well, you could do co-op, but you couldn't do online multiplayer.
Right.
It's what I like about the game, because like just the whole thing of the story itself. That opening battle at Stalingrad is a great way to open a game up, especially a war game.
Right.
I just had a lot of memories playing it. That's really all I have to say on that. Like, it's just a fun game.
I think that was one thing that was lost in Call of Duties for a little bit was the campaign mode. The campaign mode was always like my favorite part about the games until like zombie mode came out. But
oh yeah, they were great.
If you think about it, a lot of companies, like one of the big issues of like the last Battlefront, not Battlefront 2, but the one before it, that there's no story mode.
right.
It's strictly online. And it was like, and it's just kind of like, I don't know, it's just like you're paying such a high price just to play online.
Yeah.
Like, give me something, like, because me, like, I'd rather play the story because, like, I'm such a big Star Wars fan that, like, I would rather hear the lore and not play some battle that's irrelevant to the story.
Right.
Like the whole story of the first game is the Battle of Jakku. What? Because I played it online, then like I know, like, you know what I mean? Like, it just, there was no like story mode to it, and it just pissed me off. And that's why Battlefront 2 story mode was so cool to me because, it actually meant something.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the same with the Call of Duty games, where it was just like they placed you in these battles that you only heard about in history class, and you felt it. And you were like, wow, like, this is crazy. And however many times you died, you're like, okay, well, if I was a real person, I would have been dead a long time ago.
Yeah. Do you guys... Go ahead, Eric.
No, go ahead. You're good.
Do you guys remember Medal of Honor when
Yes.
when you had to storm the beaches of Normandy?
Mhm.
Yup.
Dude, how intense was that?
Dude, which one was it? I think it was Rising Sun. That one
was
almost
it.
made my list.
Yeah, I mean, like the medal. I see. Again, I'm not a big gamer, and I'll say that all the time. But like, I never really played any of the Call of Duties, but I was very into the Medal of Honors.
Mhm.
And like I just
were
remember
a
like
little
the
better.
bombs crashing in front of you, and like just going up to that beach. I'm like, oh my god, because like you do put yourself like, wow, like this, like I can't imagine really seeing this in real life.
Yeah.
All right, I guess we're on to Nick.
All
Okay.
right, so I'll get into it. We already kind of talked about it earlier, but my number 5 is Minecraft.
Hey.
That's why I laughed. I was like, oh, shit. Yeah, so I mean, we don't have to touch so much on it. We talked about it, everybody knows me. Like, I don't really like rules and shit. Like, I'm, I'd rather just do my own thing. And Minecraft really suits my personality a lot. Just do whatever I want, and that's it. But I'm not gonna, obviously we talked about it, so I'll get right to my number 4. Now, my number 4 is a bit obscure because many people I don't think even realize it was out. But a lot of my list has to do with like because I don't play games that much. That there's a handful of games I actually played at beat, like played all the way through. And this was one of them. And for anybody that knows me, one of the franchises that I loved so dearly as a kid was the Saw franchise.
Mhm.
I still love it. I recently just met Tobin Bell. It was like a dream come true. But they had a video game.
I
Yeah.
remember you having that game.
Yeah, for Xbox 360, they had Saw. It was Saw the video game, and it was so good. I remember like I was sad when it ended because I just loved it so much. Like you went through like a warehouse and like you had to like play games and like it was just like I don't know. I just love it. And I'm sure other people I played it for like it was garbage, but like I loved it. And I remember beating it, and it was just like I remember I sat there because like at the time like we had this glass table in my basement. I remember sitting in the glass table, which I probably shouldn't have. And just like in my head just kind of went down. I was like, man, like it's done. Like, why did I have to beat it so quick? But like that was one of the first games I've ever beaten, and it meant the world to me. And being able to like play within a universe that I love was
Right.
so cool. So
Yeah.
that's my number 4 is the Saw video game.
Yeah. No,
It was a number 2.
Yeah.
It was a number 2, but it didn't hold my attention as much as the first one.
Yeah, there's a lot of games like that for me where like they weren't particularly good, but they were just it was because it brought you into a world that you only saw on like a movie or a TV show, and then you get to play through it like Star Wars Episode 3 game.
Yeah.
Like that game was pretty awful, but
It was fun.
But it was fun.
Great.
Yeah.
Exactly.
No, exactly, and that's the thing. It's like it gives you a chance to like be in something that you love so much. And that like as a horror fan, like that's what was so cool. And like I've recently played like the Friday the 13th game, and again, it's an online game, and it didn't have that same feeling that the Saw game did. You know what I'm saying? Because it wasn't like a story mode. I didn't follow anything. So like, that's why the Saw game to me was so great because like I felt like I was in the movie.
Right.
Like I was like I'm a Jigsaw victim, but it was a safe way because I'm not in any pain.
Yeah.
So like that's why that game like meant a lot to me. Like that was one of the first games that came to mind when you kind of said the topic this week. Like, hey, let's do our top 5 list, and I was like, Saw. So then the next one, my number 3 is Mortal Kombat 9.
Okay.
I knew a Mortal Kombat would be on here.
Me
I just
too.
didn't know which one.
Yeah, because like here's like it wasn't actually that bad of a struggle because like I loved MKX. I thought it was great, but here's the thing that they lacked that 9 had. 9 story mode was long.
Okay.
It was a long story mode. You got you actually like got to like experience. I mean, obviously you experienced a lot longer, and like I felt like all the other ones like MKX, I beat the story mode within a day.
Right.
Same with the Injustice games. You beat it so quick that it's like, man. But I actually really generally enjoyed the story mode for MK9, and also it was harder. Like Shao Kahn was like the biggest douche in the planet, especially if they hit you and you like ha ha ha, and laugh. Like he was such a jerk off.
Right.
But like after you beat him, you felt good. And, like that was probably, and like the roster for MK9 was like ridiculous. Like how many people, and then one of the DLCs was my favorite horror movie character, Freddy Krueger.
Okay. Yeah.
That was really cool. And like I mean, the Mortal Kombat franchise in general franchise that I genuinely love.
Yeah.
So I had to be on my list with MK9.
Yeah, I remember watching those crappy movies with you.
Yeah. Well, I'm actually tonight. I rented the new movie, the animated movie that they made of Mortal Kombat.
Okay.
He said they finally got it right. It actually has 100% on Rotten Tomato.
Nice.
He sent me a clip of Scorpion fighting, and like I can't believe how violent this animated movie is. So I'm really jacked up tonight. I'll be in my movie room, which I'm in right now. I'll have the lights down, and I'll be watching Mortal Kombat.
Do it.
Nice.
So then my second favorite game ever is the first game I've ever beaten. It was the first game I played from start to finish, and you guys both experienced playing this game with me. Andrew helped me beat the final boss, and that's Resident Evil 5.
Yeah.
I knew it.
Had to be there.
Yeah, and like that was one of the games that like even after I beat it, I went back and played it again, and like I just kept playing it because I just loved it so much. Especially like the first level when you're trapped in a house and the executioner's trying to get in, you're taking out a lot of those zombies.
Right.
Yeah.
It was such a great game. I love it. So that's definitely like it almost got number one, but my number one is a game I just love so much. So you know, so obviously it didn't make that, but yeah, Resident Evil 5 is definitely my second favorite game of all time.
Yeah, we had way too much fun playing that game for hours. We would stay up. I think we used to like stay up all night until like 5 or 6 in the morning playing that game.
Yeah.
Yep. For sure. Yeah, it was just such a great game, and I don't know. I was actually shocked that I actually beat it. Like I normally don't. Like I normally lose interest rather quick in a video game.
Right.
And this one just held it. Like I couldn't stop. Like I was like, I have to go beat Wesker, and like I was like, oh man, I was just so into it, and especially because like that was like at that point I was already such a fan of the movies. Like I was a fan of the movies before I was a fan of the games. So at that point, and then it was exciting because like the movies then coincide with Resident Evil 5, and like when I saw the trailer for Afterlife and they had like the little tentacles coming out of my mouth, I'm like Resident Evil 5, oh crap! Like I was going insane. So like yeah, that game just meant a lot to me. That's my number 2, but my number 1 is my favorite game of all time is World of Warcraft.
Nice, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it didn't make my list, but it's a good game. It's great.
It's basically the reasons the same with Minecraft. It's like, and I do quests, but the idea that I'm in this world, which Andrew would tell you, it's so vast and it's so cool, like the different worlds you can go into, and it's like there's times I just sit there and just explore.
Yeah.
You know, like it's just like I don't know. There's like I can play, and it's like when I play, like I have to take breaks because it consumes you.
Right.
And you have to pay, and you do have to pay monthly for, so you kind of have a point. You're like, am I paying? You know,
Yeah.
But like, dude, literally, it's like it's my favorite game ever, and I'm a worgen, which is a werewolf.
Right.
So like, it's that you literally can like you can go to human to werewolf, and like that's my like everybody like knows like how much I love werewolves. And then my horde character is an undead zombie. So
right.
You know, I just love that game so much. I'm not gonna lie, I'm Alliance 100%, like through and through. I don't really play the horde that much. I don't like Orgrimmar. I think it's a trashy place. I'm definitely a Stormwind City type of guy. So anybody who's watching who's Team Horde, I'm sorry, Alliance.
Loser.
You just pissed off like half of the world right there.
Including me.
Including him.
Well, my own girlfriend's a Horde member, and I'm like, you just terrible.
Just saying.
Well, first off, a worgen is Alliance, okay? We have werewolves, all right? I'm sorry.
Yeah, but you know, they had to throw werewolves into the Alliance to make people actually want to play Alliance. Because that didn't come in until years later. Like anyone who knows me knows that I played World of Warcraft for years and was way too invested into it, and to the point where like I was even on the top horde guild in my server for a while, and we were one of the first guilds to beat the last battle on Wrath of the Lich King, which was the Lich King battle. So, and I was playing at the time. I was playing on a really crappy computer, which barely even ran the game. And I was still competing with everyone else that no one even knew that I had such a shitty computer.
Well, my favorite character in the game is Gul'dan.
Who is it? Sorry.
Gul'dan.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's my favorite villain
Right.
of the game. He's so great. Like when I was playing Legion, at
Mhm.
one point, like he's there talking to you, and I was like, Chen, take a screenshot. But like I didn't realize when you go near him, he just kills you.
Yeah.
So I just died. So I didn't get the picture with him.
Yeah. He was sick.
He's awesome.
That was one of the things that I loved about that was the lore. I used to read the books.
Yep.
And those books are incredible. And just reading them and then going in and playing the game and seeing how they built the world around the story was amazing.
World of Warcraft is 100% my favorite game. It just fits my personality so much more than any other game I played. And that's why I got to my number one. The fact that I get to be a zombie or a werewolf, I mean, that's a no-brainer.
Yeah, that's true.
I'll give you that one. I never played any of the games, but okay.
They're amazing. I mean, listen. I mean, if you liked RuneScape, you thought RuneScape was good.
Love RuneScape.
Well, that almost made my list too.
I know.
It almost made
close.
mine, but then I realized how much better World of Warcraft is, and I was like, they're not even on the same playing field.
So it's funny, when I made my video game list, I didn't even think about MMOs or any of that. I was just thinking about like the other games that I was playing. Like I didn't even put Counter-Strike on there, and I play Counter-Strike. I've been playing Counter-Strike for like 5 years.
Yeah. Like I even thought about Diablo 2. But I'm like, man, I barely remember that. I haven't played that since I was like 14.
Yeah. I mean, I love those games, but would I consider them like games that I would want to go back and play all the time?
Not necessarily.
That when I think of a game that I want to go play all the time, I think of everything that's on my list.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah. And because I'm just like a casual gamer, like basically around like Christmas time is normally when I start playing World of Warcraft, like the winter starts happening.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're home, you're in the house more. Like that's like normally like I go through like basically from like December to like February, I play Warcraft for like 3 months straight, and then I'm like, okay, I'm good, and then I just take a break till next time.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. So I think we're on to TV shows now.
We are TV shows. Let's do it, peeps.
This one's going to be fun because like when it comes to TV shows and movies, I'm very different in the way that I like them. And again, I don't really have an order for my TV shows. But I'll get it started. One of them I'm still watching currently, almost caught up. We're on the season, their last season that they produced so far. Grey's Anatomy.
I knew that was happening.
Yeah, of course. I don't know. I just love drama shows. I love shows that are like that, and like I get sucked in like. And we'll sit there and watch like 3 or 4 episodes and not even think about it. And then we're like, oh, why'd we just watch 3 or 4 episodes of this show?
But it's good, man.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. The story's great. It like, I think what started me watching it was my fiance was watching it one time, and she was watching one of the newer episodes that were on like maybe a couple seasons ago. And I had no idea what was going on. I was like, I don't know who these characters are. I don't know what's going on at all. So I was like, I'm going to start watching it. Then I started from season 1 and just continued on, and now we're almost done.
Yeah, I've never watched a single episode of Grey's Anatomy, but every single person I've known that has watched it has said how great it is.
My wife tells me all the time. It's one of her favorites.
It's great.
Eric, I can never imagine you physically sitting down and watching Grey's Anatomy.
I usually go out to the deck and just hang out.
I can't imagine it either.
You would just be pissed off the whole time. I just know it.
There's definitely moments where I'm pissed off and I'm like, why'd they do that instead of just doing this? Like, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I can never just imagine Eric.
The only thing I know about it, it's a show
TV
at a
show.
hospital. That's all I know.
That's all you need to know.
Yeah, all our lists are going to be so vastly different, I feel. There
Oh,
might be
yeah.
like one show we all have in common.
Or like, not even like the same show, but the same type of show.
Right.
No, I think we're all going to have the same show, one show in common.
One show in common, yeah.
I believe we all have one show in common.
Okay,
so
we'll see. I know you and me will, Nick.
Yeah.
Andrew, I never knew your favorite TV shows, to be honest with you.
I'm confident enough to think Andrew put it in.
yeah.
Okay.
So next one on my list is an anime. It's called Yawamushi Pedal. So it's
You pronounce it.
exactly.
Yeah.
So it's a show. It's an anime about like biking, like bicycling. So these kids who are in high school, they do a bicycle club, and it follows the main character, which is his name's Onada, and he is this little geeky kid who's really into anime, and he rides around on like what they call a mommy bike, and he's got like the basket on the front. There's no gears, there's no nothing, but like he rides his bike everywhere. And uh, one day, like the bicycle club is like training, and he like goes up this hill like really fast on his crappy bike, and somehow almost wins like the race against like the best person on the team.
It's all in the basket.
Yeah. So then they get him to join the team, and then you start to see it progress from there. So it's a really good show. It's a little bit underrated in terms of the anime genre in America, at least.
Yeah.
But it's still a good show. And if you ever want to get inspired to ride a bike, then watch this show.
Now, do you watch
There
it
you
dubbed or do you watch it in Japanese or?
Yeah, we only watch subtitles.
Okay.
No issue with dubs. Like I used to watch G Gundam when I was a kid, and like Zoids and stuff like that, and they're all dubbed. But like I just like the subs, and even now, like I always have subtitles on for even American shows.
Yeah, I do
do-
the same thing.
I do it too. A lot of times I keep the subtitles on because, especially if it's a show I'm really into,
Mhm.
and I don't want to miss. I have to have the subtitles on so I don't miss plot point.
Right.
Yeah, I do it for that reason too, as well as I don't have a remote for my TV anymore. So if you know how
I don't
some
either.
shows it goes like the volume goes real high and then real
Yep.
low. If it's
Yep.
too low, it's like I'd rather just read it.
Right.
Yeah,
I wanna get out.
in mine and Jen's bedroom, my remote broke and I haven't got a new one. So like, there's times when she's sleeping, and I just have to have it like all the way down and just have the like captions on. So
Yeah. So next one on my list is a comedy. It's Parks and Rec. Parks and Rec,
Well,
great show.
did you watch the special that just aired?
I didn't watch it yet, so no spoilers, please.
I won't. It's on Hulu. It's on Hulu.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Parks and Rec is one of those It's one of those outlying comedies that lasted a long time, where you actually get a fulfilling ending to the show.
And
Okay.
it's consistently good throughout the entire series.
Yeah, I think you can pick pretty much any season and go to any episode, and you'll enjoy the episode.
There's one episode I skipped.
Which one was that?
The Venezuelan delegates.
that episode is hilarious.
Really?
Yeah.
Me and Jen hate that episode. We just
No.
don't think it's funny like at all.
No, I think it's probably one of the worst episodes, but it's still hilarious. Like I'm
hate
one of
that
those
episode.
people that think that they're like all the episodes are really good, but there's obviously ones that are less good, like South
Yeah.
Park.
Yes.
There's episodes that aren't as good as the other ones, but they're still good.
yeah.
Um,
It's a great show, man. I love it. It's especially like I never watching it like and my ribs hurting
mhm,
because how funny, especially Jerry.
right.
Like that every episode, like they had that Jerry moment. I would be like dying, and I'd be walking upstairs to get a drink. My dad's like, "What's wrong? You okay?" I'm like, "God, this show's is so funny. My ribs hurt."
No, that's true.
I've never sat down and watched like binge the show, but like if I walk in the room and it's on, I'll sit and watch it, and it makes me laugh.
It's
Yeah.
so funny, Eric.
And the cast is great. Like you don't
Yeah.
expect these people to come in and do as well as they do in the show, and they nail it. Like,
The only complaint I have, there's one complaint I have,
go ahead.
is I wish they would have brought, even though I wasn't crazy about the character, but he was still a character and a major point of the first two seasons. I wish they would have somehow brought Mark into the final episode.
Right.
You know,
Yeah, that would have been nice.
gave us an update on him because like he was a big character in the first two seasons, and he himself wanted to leave the show.
Right.
It wasn't the writers; he wanted to leave. But I feel like they could have got him for a one-time walk-on. You know, I mean, I don't know. That's my one complaint about the show, but it's not even that big of a complaint.
Maybe they tried. He just didn't want to do it. Who knows?
They could have. They could have.
But yeah. So then that brings me to my next one, which is South Park. So
I love that show so much.
It's an American classic.
It's an American classic. I remember I was in college and I'd never seen an episode of South Park at that point. And it was like my first year of college, and I had a bunch of time in between classes. So I was just like, I don't know what to watch. So then I went on and found out that South Park had all of their episodes for free on their website. And I just went on there and I just watched every single episode. And I continue to watch it until this day. Even the new seasons are fantastic.
They're always good, man. Always.
Yeah.
And I remember when I was a kid, I wasn't allowed to watch it.
Mhm.
My dad, he was like, "You can't watch that." So what I would do is my bedroom was right in front of the stairs, so I'd sit really close to the TV, and by the time you didn't really have a remote, so you had to,
Right.
and as soon as I start hearing him walk, I'd change it. But I love that show so much, and shockingly, I'll be honest, it's not on my list, and it's because I forgot because I haven't really watched the current seasons.
Right.
But at least this season, so I kind of didn't put it on. But I do love that show so much.
Yeah. I think that the way they go about making fun of everything, they don't hold back on anything, and it's great.
No one's off limits.
Right.
No one.
That's my favorite part about it. Yeah, no one's off limits.
They don't lean a certain way, which is cool. They
Right.
will just obliterate everyone.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah. Kanye got the worst.
I mean,
He really didn't get it that bad, but
He didn't, but
Kanye
it's one
does
of
it to
the most
himself.
memorable moments of the show.
yeah,
Right.
Aquaman.
Just sticks.
Yeah.
Dude, that episode changed my life with the word fish sticks.
I just love when when he's at the podium and he's like, "Do you like fish sticks?" He goes, "Love them."
That does not make me a gay fish.
Yeah. And my favorite character ever is PC Principal.
PC Principal's great.
So great. So great.
Oh God.
And then it brings it down to the obvious one that Nick had known was on my list, was Breaking Bad.
Great show.
Phenomenal show. I think everyone from what I heard said it wasn't that great, or it's not as good as Game of Thrones or some bullcrap like that. But Nick was actually the one who got me into the show. He said, just get through the first episode, or the first 3 episodes. He said, just take 3 episodes and you'll like it. And I was like, all right. And then I just watched it, and I was like, first episode was pretty good.
Yep.
And then I think I texted Nick either during the second episode or after the second episode, and I said, I'm hooked.
He finished it before I did.
Yeah, I ended up finishing the show before Nick.
Yeah,
So
he did. Because I was waiting for it to go on Netflix, and Andrew just bought the Blu-ray.
Yeah.
I finished it.
yeah, it was that good that I watched at the time the first 5 seasons were on Netflix, and the final season wasn't going to be on Netflix for another month or 2, and I was just like, I gotta go to the store and buy this. So I bought it on Blu-ray, the final season, and just watched the whole season.
You know what? I love Better Call Saul, and the only reason it's not on my list is because it's still so early.
Right.
But that's such an amazing show, and there's times, I'm not gonna lie, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I like Better Call Saul more than Breaking Bad sometimes. I think
you guys are gonna kill me. I like it better than Breaking Bad.
And here's why: because it's more lighthearted.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the later seasons of Breaking Bad, and I have a show that's on my list that's very similar to Breaking Bad, and I actually thought you were going to have it. Eric will have it. I thought you were going to have this show as well. But it's Better Call Saul has a lot of more fun, lighthearted moments.
Mm.
Breaking Bad just gets to the point where you have to take a break watching it. I tried rewatching when El Camino was coming out, and I got to season 4, and I was like, I just can't do it right now.
Unless you're me, then you don't take breaks.
Yeah, I was so drained because I think I've gone through the show twice, and then I tried going for it a third time, and I was I was exhausted because I can't do much.
Yeah, I love Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
It's such a good show. I mean, I killed the first 2 seasons in a few days when I first started watching it.
Right.
The rest of it, I had to take some breaks over time just because it was starting to get just so crazy, and that's when I was starting to really get into these serious shows.
Yeah.
It's one of them shows that everybody should watch at least all the way through at least once in their life.
Mm-hmm.
And it just
Well, I was going to say, and the cast it really helps make the whole thing. Like, who knew the dad from Malcolm in the Middle would end up being this much of a badass?
Yeah.
Right.
And Jesse wasn't supposed to make it past the pilot.
Right.
Yeah, that's right.
And it just shows you how great AMC is at their television programming.
Almost every show they've put out in the past 10 years has killed it.
They've had two of the biggest shows in the history of television.
Right.
Breaking Bad and Walking Dead, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And just don't ever make another Breaking Bad movie is my only ask.
Oh my God, El Camino was the movie I didn't want.
I didn't see it, so thank you for telling me not to watch it.
Don't watch it.
Like, here's the thing: when I heard that they were doing a epilogue for Jesse,
mm-hmm.
I was like, I don't want it. Don't need it. I watched it. Still didn't want it. Definitely didn't need it.
Right.
It was terrible. It was boring. I felt like it was a smack in the face to the fans because they think we're so dumb that we can't make the ending on ourselves. Like, we know Jesse got away.
Right.
We know Jesse. We could all put in our head, oh yeah, he's having a better life now.
Yep.
You know, I didn't need this movie. And in the between spots about the guy, what's his name? The guy who got really overweight and they never made him lose weight.
Yeah, that loser, I forget his name.
Whatever.
Todd.
I forget his name.
Yeah, Todd. And like, I didn't care. I really needed those moments between Todd and Jesse. I thought that movie was awful. I hated El Camino.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe that Vince Gilligan even was a part of it because Better Call Saul is amazing.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Breaking Bad is amazing. I don't know what the fuck happened in El Camino, but it was a movie I just didn't need.
Yeah.
They were thinking about money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wrong time.
He got paid. Yeah.
All right, so Eric.
Buddy.
All right. So these are actually in order.
Ah.
So I'll go from 5 to 1, but I also decided to go with like scripted shows or like series. I didn't want to go with anything reality. Like, I hate reality shows, but like there are certain ones that I loved in the past. Like Viva La Bam is always a go-to.
Mm-hmm.
Jackass.
Like Jackass, yeah. Headbangers Ball for me.
Yeah.
Big metal fan. That's part of our early friendship. All three of us actually.
Yeah. Yep.
Like
right.
Yep. So I kind of kept those shows out of this list.
Yeah.
For number 5, I put Hell on Wheels.
Okay.
I've never watched it, but I hear fantastic things.
I recommend it. I'm not going to lie, the last 2 seasons they're not as good as the beginning, but they hold your attention enough to complete the story. But basically, for people that don't know what the show is, it takes place post-Civil War in like the 1870s, 1880s, somewhere around that time. And it's just about the construction of the Transcontinental Railroad connecting East and West. And most of it takes place in Wyoming, big frontier area. Basically, it's basically like this big thing between like the former slaves and former Civil War soldiers, basically. It's all about Reconstruction.
Right.
A lot of crazy stuff happens. I mean, the cast I love, like the main character. He's one of the most badass guys in television, in my opinion. Common, he's in it, and he does a fantastic job.
He's amazing. He's a great actor.
Yeah, he is. And one of my favorite actors from that show, I can't remember his name to save my life, but he's from, what was that movie? You guys ever see Law Abiding Citizen?
I haven't seen it, but...
Yeah.
Okay. Well, he's the other detective, the white guy with the curly hair.
Okay.
I forget his name, but like he does a phenomenal job in that show, playing like this arrogant, like rich New York fancy guy living out in the frontiers. I don't know. The whole show is great. Give it a shot. It's a good history lesson, but even if you don't want it for that, it's just a fun, brutal show.
That's also an AMC show, right?
Yes, it is.
Sure
it is
yeah.
AMC.
Another one, see? They kill it. And the guy you're talking about is the guy from Star Trek The Next Generation as well.
Yes. I forgot about that.
Yeah, he's a good actor.
Yeah, he's probably the best, my favorite actor in that show, actually. He just kills it every scene he's in. They just get so many people from around the world, Irish, German, just because of the time period. It's great.
Yeah, AMC, man.
Oh, yeah. I'll move on to number 4, Sons of Anarchy.
Okay.
That's all I need to say.
You were going to have that, Andrew.
I've never watched it.
Really?
You
Why
kn-
did I assume you watched it?
No,
Watch it.
you would always tell me about it. I never watched it though.
Oh, you're a horrible person.
Yeah, well, I love you too.
Definitely watch Sons of Anarchy. You don't even need to be into motorcycles to watch it.
No,
It,
it's so good.
it's basically, I don't want to say it's just as crazy as Breaking Bad, basically, when it comes to
It
like
is.
violence, craziness. I think even crazy.
Depression.
Yes, depression. A lot of awesome acting cameos are in it. The cast is awesome. Like I'm gonna say for every show, that's a big part of why I like these shows.
Mm-hmm.
But like Nick, you've seen it. Like the story is just you can't
I
beat
love it. No, I mean, you're gonna find out on my list how much I love it. I mean,
I could have guessed that.
Yeah, me and Eric, we've actually met 3 of the cast members.
Oh yeah.
We met Chibs, Ron Perlman, and Ryan Hurst.
Yep. And if it wasn't for the virus, we would have met Kim Coates too.
Yeah, that's true.
PopCon.
Yep, that's true.
Yeah, like the show's so good, I got my wife hooked on it because she
Yeah.
usually hates those kind of shows, but she just sat down and started watching an episode with me. She's like, I like this. So we had to start it over.
I got Jen into it too, but we had to stop after. Spoiler alert, Andrew, if you're gonna watch it, just take your headphones off. When Gemma kills a certain person.
No, see, that's when Amanda lost interest too.
Well, I gotta be honest with you, that character reminded me of my girlfriend, and I loved her so much, that character. So when it happened, it was hard for me to move on, but I had to know how the last season ended.
Exactly.
And the brutality of how she dies, I'm like, oh, she did not deserve to die that way.
No, she didn't. But at the same time, like, that's a pretty crazy way to go right there.
No, it is. And like Andrew, like I will say it has the same vibes like the Breaking Bad. Like when I told you, like sometimes you seem to break because it's just like it's like Kurt Sutter, like the way he writes. He writes realistic. Like the highest point of the show when everybody's at their best is season 1, and then every season gets progressively worse and worse and worse.
Right.
Except season 3, they kind of come together, but there's a reason why.
There's a specific reason for 3. Well, half of season 3.
Yeah. And then the ending kicks you right in the ball sack. I'm like, oh
God,
I had to binge watch that entire season to know what happened to Abel.
Really?
Yeah, I had to. I finished it in like 2 days because I couldn't bear to know. I had to know what happened to that little boy. I couldn't. It was killing me because like Cassidy was like just born.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, so I was like, damn it. But no, Sons of Anarchy, Andrew, is one of the most incredible shows ever.
It's intense. It like that's the best way I can put it. It's just a really intense show.
The Mayans, Eric, is very good.
I haven't gotten around to watching that yet.
It's kind of like how the Better Call Saul is. It's the lighthearted version
of
Sons of Anarchy.
So, my only thing is I wish they went with another club than Mayans because that one was just too obvious. Like I kind of wish they. I don't know if they chose a different club or they went with like another crime organization.
Well, I think that's kind of the intent.
Or the spinoff. Yeah.
I think that's the intent. Well, Kurt Sutter did just say he wants to make a movie. He wants to make a show about Abel and the first 9.
That's what I want to see. I want to see the first 9. I don't care about Abel and.
Yeah, I don't care about Abel too.
I want to see the first 9.
Yeah, I'm fine with how that ended, but like I a spinoff. I did want the Mayan spinoff because I loved Alvarez. Yeah. And I love the different culture between the 2 clubs, but I wanted a 1-9er show.
That's what I wanted. I either wanted 1-9ers or I know the Grim Bastards ended when in the last season, but like I wish I could have seen like an early day spin-off of that.
Well, I will say in the Mayans they actually introduced even more gangs.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and Robert Patrick from Terminator 2 makes an appearance in it. Because remember he was in Sons, and then I'll say this Happy and
Chibs. They're in Mayans, yeah.
Well, they make it appear.
That's what I meant to say.
Happy's actually in it a little bit more, but Chibs does make an appearance.
Well, I imagine, and this is me not watching the show at all, I imagine because where Sons left off, and this isn't going to ruin it for you, Andrew, if you decide to watch it, but like, that's when Happy, he takes over, I think he's Sergeant
of Arms.
Yeah, at that point. So I can see him going to the other clubs that they're kind of friendly with, working that kind of stuff out.
There's a Chibs, not Chibs, Happy does something.
Oh.
That's pretty important to the storyline.
Okay.
And what's cool is you follow a prospect. And I gotta be honest with you, because I'll be one of the people. Like I know I hated Jax. I thought Jax.
A lot of people did.
Yeah, like I mean, again, Jax served his role.
Yes.
I think but like he was a terrible person. I mean,
Yes.
like he was a hound dog. Like he didn't care. Like but like, and again, I liked Jax. He was a great character for the show, but I hate him.
No, I feel a similar way towards him.
And
actually, that's how I feel with Clay. Actually.
Yeah, well, no, I like Clay more than I like Jax because Clay didn't pretend to be who he was.
That's
right?
true. You're right.
Clay was consistent. Clay never claimed to be a good person.
He was just an upfront asshole about it.
Yeah,
Jax, he was more hiding it and being fake about it.
Exactly. Like,
yeah, you're right.
Clay, what you see is what you got with Clay. First off, it's Perlman, dude. Ron Perlman is the fucking man.
Yes.
But the
very nice guy too.
Yeah, he was very nice when I met him.
Same.
When the character you follow, his name's Ezekiel, but they call him EZ. He's way more likable than Jax because he generally is a good person, but he's just trying to find his path.
Gotcha. Okay.
And dude, I promise you, it's on the season 1's on Hulu, but I promise you, the Minds is so good.
I'll get around to it eventually. I mean, either I'll wait for more seasons to pop up, or I'll say screw it and I'll just buy them. Like,
yeah,
I've done it before.
Yeah, I do it. But yeah, go ahead, man. What's your next one?
Next one is one that all of you probably know. That 70s Show.
Oh, I love that.
Good show.
It is my favorite sitcom of all time. I think it's the greatest sitcom. Like Seinfeld.
I don't like Seinfeld. I don't even like Seinfeld. I thought it was boring.
It's funny, Seinfeld, but like that 70s Show just takes it to another level. Like I feel like it's something I can relate to, especially because like when I was watching it, I started watching it back in the 90s when it first came out with my parents as a little kid. So I watched it basically from the beginning to the end, and I got like real connected with it. It was actually the first show that I really like connected with.
Yeah.
Every episode's hilarious. You're gonna have your awkward, like cringy moments, but that's part of the show.
Right.
I just can't watch when Randy enters.
I know. Everybody hates the last season with Randy. I don't like it either. It's my least favorite, but I still watch it anyway because there's good enough jokes and good enough gags in it to keep me going.
Well, I'm gonna have a similar show not a similar show, but I'm gonna have a show that kind of has a really great start but a real bad ending.
Yeah.
But like it doesn't just because the last season sucks, it doesn't negate how great the seasons prior to it.
Exactly. And the great thing about something like that 70s Show, I mean, it's not a serious show where you have to watch every single episode for a storyline.
Yeah, exactly.
Like there's a storyline, but it's not a serious storyline. But then you get to a point where the storyline's all over the place. They'll have what's it take place over, like 3 or 4 years?
Something like that.
It's supposed to take place from 76 until like until New Year's Eve before it turns to 1980.
Right.
So you've got 4 years right there. And like within like what's supposed to be like a 2-year span, they have like 4 Christmas episodes.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
It gets a little out of whack, but I mean like it's just a solid good show. And
Hyde had a sister.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But it makes me. I think we all can feel like this too with the show. It made you like, I want these to be my friends. I want to hang out with these people. Just sit around, just bust each other's balls and
smoke pot.
Piss off Red.
There you go.
Yeah. To me, it's one of the funniest shows.
I love it.
I still laugh hysterically at most things from that show.
I
can rewatch it forever.
I love the scene. My favorite scenes in that show is usually when one of them's like really high, and like the parents are like talking to him, and then the background's moving, and they're just like,
yes.
The show is amazing.
The heads are floating around. Oh yeah, it's so good. It was ahead of its time, to be honest with you.
It was.
I feel it really was, and I don't know. It's just a great show.
Right.
Leave it at that. Next up, it's probably the most obvious one on here, Supernatural.
Right.
1 through 5.
Yep.
Everything after that, I don't care about. Season 5 ended so perfectly.
I know. Until the last 10 seconds.
I don't know.
Sam.
Yeah, you're right.
If they would have just if I could
if
just
they
get
left
a fan
that
edit,
scene,
it would have been completely perfect. But I'm with you. I tried watching past it. Like I got to I think like season 8, and I just kind of gave up because like 1 through 5 was just so
Yes.
perfect.
You got further than me. Like I watched season 6, and that was it. Like the way I started watching it was kind of weird, actually. Because I'm going to go into a 5-minute tangent real quick.
Go
Is
ahead.
it all right?
Do it.
Yeah, that's
So-
your time, buddy.
I still got some water.
Okay. So basically, like the show came out in 2005, and I remember seeing commercials for it on TV at the time, and it was like horror and all that. I'm like, this is up my alley. I want to check this out. And then the same night it was premiering, The Deadliest Catch premiered that same exact night on Discovery. And my dad,
Great show.
we only had one TV in the house.
Yep.
So my dad's like, we're watching this. And that became mine and my dad's show for years. That actually almost made this list too.
That show's amazing. I love
It is.
Deadliest Catch.
The old seasons. The
Yeah,
first
I'm with you.
But I was watching that with him for years, and then when I started my senior year of high school, like working, I wasn't able to watch the shows with him because I was going to work. But oh no, I got that part. I skipped ahead too far. Basically, it was the summer before senior year. Season 5 of Supernatural was coming out in September, and I had this group of friends, all girls. They were crazy about the show, and I'm like, you know what? Screw it. Can I borrow your DVDs? And my friend Emily gave me the DVDs to watch, and I remember after watching the first episode, I called Nick immediately. I'm like, dude, you need to watch Supernatural. I don't know why I missed out on this show.
And then I started borrowing the DVDs from that girl.
Well, no, well, what happened was, because I got through, 4 seasons in 2 weeks.
Yep.
And then because I was waiting for her to get season 5, the box set, to come out on DVD, and then when she got that, she gave that to me. I watched that before the new season came out. Literally the day before I finished it was the new season. But what I used to do, because my friend Emily and Nick, they knew each other, but they didn't know each other. They weren't friends. So I would be like, can I borrow season 1 again? And I would just give it to Nick.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, that's what it was.
And then it got to a point where you and her had the same class together. I think it was film. And I just went up to her. I'm like, look, I've been giving your DVDs to Nick.
Yeah, she was cool about it. She didn't care.
She's like, oh yeah, she's like, just tell him to talk to me. I'll give them to him.
Yeah, then we would hand them off we would hand them off until I eventually bought season 5.
Yep, same here.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that show was fantastic. And
that was our show, bro.
Well, not just that. Here's where I'm going to go with that. Me and Nick went a couple times after high school where we didn't really talk to each other.
Yeah.
Like we'd go maybe like 2 years not talking, and then Supernatural always brought us back together, because I would always, if I was sitting watching it, I would take a video on my phone or take a picture of like whatever I was watching, just send it to him out of the blue, not talking to him for years.
Mm-hmm.
And he would just, what was it? You would text back just laughing, or we would just talk shit on that episode, and then here we are, still talking.
Heat of the moment, bro. Heat of the moment.
Dude, I wake up to that every morning. That's my alarm.
I love that show. I really do, and I'm with you. I'm one of those guys that I don't care anything past season 5. I just kind of blanked out of my head.
Yeah. And I don't care that it's a chick show. It's an amazing show.
The show's great, dude. I don't give a shit.
Oh yeah, it's so good. I got my wife hooked on it too. I think she likes that more than Sons. But like, I'll come home from work and she'll be watching random Supernatural episodes.
I got Jen
up to season 5.
Yeah, I got Jen pretty much hooked on it. I don't know where she left off, but this was like back when I was letting her borrow the DVDs, and then it kind of got hard to track. So I don't know where she left off, but she did really like the show as well. But like season 1 is probably like my favorite season though, because all that like
5.
I also love my thing is like I love the random hunts.
Yes.
Yeah,
the random hunts really made that show, but like the storyline is what really held everything together, because you originally think it's going to be about like these 2 brothers going and just finding creatures and ghosts and shit and just saving the day, like a more badass Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, seriously.
Except the monsters are real. But no, it goes deeper than that in terms of this crazy story that you're just like, where did this go? Why? But you're loving the journey of it.
Love it. Yeah, I'm with you. I love the show.
Yeah, watch it. And then Nick already knows my number 1, Trailer Park Boys.
Yeah.
There you go.
It's the funniest show I've ever seen in my life.
I've never watched a single episode.
Why? All right, season 1 is very dry. Season 2 as well. It doesn't really start to find itself, I feel, until like halfway through season 3.
Yeah.
Basically, like between season 3 and season 7 are their best seasons, in my opinion. What happened was the show came out in the early 2000s, ran up until 2007 on Canadian TV, and then years later they started running it on Stars, and then I found a website that they ran every episode on, and this is before Netflix picked them up.
Yeah.
And when Netflix picked up the old seasons, then they started making new seasons. So then you got 8, 9, 10. Now they have an animated show, and it's the funniest fucking show. It's just pure stupidity. That's what's so great about it. It's all about like these Canadians living in Nova Scotia. They're petty criminals living in a trailer park, like, and all they want to do is get drunk, smoke dope, which is weed up there. I don't know why they call it dope. It's basically just alcohol, weed, and cats. If you love cats, you'll love the character Bubbles, because that's his favorite thing. Kitties.
I love my cat.
There's so many small details to the show. You don't think it's that serious until like you start rewatching it over and over. You're like, holy shit, that's interesting. I don't know. It's just the most ridiculous show. You got a guy that has a giant gut that never wears a shirt, who's in love with a trailer park supervisor. Rest in peace, John Dunsworth, one of the greatest actors ever. If you watch the show, you'll understand what I mean by that too. Like, he plays the greatest drunk on television.
One day. One day, maybe I'll watch it.
Just, I recommend it. It's like quick 30-minute episodes. It's a sitcom, but it's just pure stupidity.
I knew that was gonna be your number one. I knew it.
Oh yeah, I knew. You probably knew my top 2.
I never even heard of it, so.
It's on Netflix. They got a ton of movies too. They got probably 6 movies at least. They have a couple live things they do. They tour. Just watch it. It's great.
Sounds good.
All right, Nick.
All right, mine are in order I'll go from 5 to 1. So number 5 for me is Fear the Walking Dead. Oh, hold up, it's Fear the Walking Dead, but I do have a criteria. It has to have more than 4 seasons for me to put it on my list. If it doesn't have 4 seasons, the shows don't normally come into their own until about season 3 or 4.
Right.
So that's why, The Mandalorian, which I love, didn't make the list because it only had 1 season. There's a show I really love called What We Do in the Shadows. It only has 1 season, currently airing the 2nd. And then the Mayans, they're too early to embrace them on my list yet.
Right.
My number 5 is Fear the Walking Dead. Obviously, you'll know later. I just love the universe. To me, it's like a continuation onto the story of which I already love. It expands. Yeah. It gives you new people to follow. Mm-hmm. So, Fear the Walking Dead, it's not really much explanation. Anybody who's watched any of the podcast knows how much I love the Walking Dead universe. So,
right.
Fear the Walking Dead is my number 5.
Okay.
And then my number 4 is actually Game of Thrones.
Okay.
I knew that'd be on there.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying to Eric, about that 7 show. I despise the final season of Game of Thrones. I despise
it.
I can't talk about it because I've already went on a tirade rage.
Please don't go on a rant because I've only seen the first season and half of the second.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I can't. I could have a whole video on my own just ranting about the last season and the writers. But it doesn't negate the fact that the 6 seasons prior were incredible.
Yeah, the Game of Thrones was one of those shows that I caught on to late. I think it was in the 5th season or going on to the 5th season by the time I started watching it. So what I did was Comcast had one of those streamathon weekends where everything was unlocked, HBO, all that. So I binge watched it over the course of, I binge watched 4 seasons of Game of Thrones over the course of 2 or 3 days, just to catch up.
Yeah.
And then watched it ever since. And then again, same as Nick, the last season just kind of ruined the show for me. It ruined what they built up.
Yeah.
In my eyes.
I just wish it never happened.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing, and again, I'm not going to get into a huge rant, but for those who haven't watched Game of Thrones, before the final season, HBO had 5 Game of Thrones spin-off shows in the works. One shot a pilot.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone got canceled. except one, and the one that didn't get canceled is not the one they filmed the pilot for.
Right.
Really?
Because the fans were so pissed about that final season. And it just shows you they had the hottest property in the world, and they blew it.
Yep. It was the
just-
top show.
Yeah, it's just a shame. I mean, there was a point where I thought it was going to be my favorite show of all time. It went down so far because that final season.
Yeah.
It was just a slap in the face to every single fan that followed that show. And for those who like it, I'm not, congrats. Like I'm really happy that you do like it. I genuinely mean that.
Mhm.
I'm just not one of them. Like a lot of people get like up and up. How do you like that crap? If you like it, you like it. I think it's garbage. It's not my thing.
Right.
So I mean but are you actually watching her?
Me and Amanda were watching it because her sister gave us all the seasons on DVD, and then when we were watching it, that's when I was working like literally every single day for like 4 months straight. So like after the second episode, I'd be passed out. So
okay, it's too long.
I kind of ruined it for both of us, but we're gonna get back to it eventually. I think we were just mostly waiting for the hype to die down. We both hate watching shows when they're popular.
So do I. I literally only really like. I mean, I watch the ones I named, but like the ones I name, I don't really watch as they air either. Like the Mayans, I wait till they go on Hulu or I buy it on Vudu or whatever. But like I kind of wait till like it dies down. There's only one show I truly watch as it airs, that's The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
Fear the Walking Dead. But my what is it? My third favorite show is one we already had a discussion on, was the Sons of Anarchy.
Right.
So we don't really have to go. We don't have to extend on that. We just had a whole conversation
Exactly.
about how much we love Sons of Anarchy.
Yep.
So I'll go right to my number two. My number one and number two are shows that I've watched from start to finish, close to about 10 times, if not more. And that means from start to finish, I've gone through. That's how much I love these two shows.
Yeah.
So my second is The Office.
Okay.
I knew that'd be on there.
Yeah, that show is I don't know. I just love it so much. I can't say enough of how good it is, and
It's hilarious.
The only reason I basically have a Netflix subscription is to continue rewatching The Office. Anytime, I'll go for like a month without watching it, and I'll just start it off, blast it through again. So I literally have watched that show so much, it's not even funny. So it's pretty easy. That being my number two. I don't know if any of you guys ever watched The Office.
Yeah, The Office is one of those shows that I never actually went out of my way to watch, but if it was on TV when I had cable, like they would come on TBS or something, or Comedy Central, or whatever channel it was on, and then I would just watch it for a couple hours while it's playing.
Yeah. It's so good.
Mhm.
I love it.
I kind of did the same thing. Like everybody around me watched it, so like if I had nothing else to do, I would just sit and watch it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Great show.
Well, my number one's pretty obvious. I mean, I think I've talked about the show on every single podcast that we've ever done, and that's The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
So I don't think I have to expand too much upon it. I mean, anybody who's carried on, I mean, like, they know how much I love horror and I love zombies, and to me, it's like that continuation of a zombie film that I never want to end, and it's just that's why Fear the Walking Dead's on there as well. It's not as superior as the parent show, but just the fact that I have a show that I get to watch, like, even more content of a world that I love so much. It's like I love Star Wars so much, so seeing The Mandalorian and the Clone Wars is like amazing. So it's always nice to have a show that just continues to expand upon a world that you just really love.
Right.
So The Walking Dead is my favorite show of all time, and I don't see that changing.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting anything else.
Same. I was expecting that.
And my number one movie will be obvious too. So.
Yeah. So speaking of, let's go on to movies, and we'll try to speed it on a little bit.
I was gonna say,
I know
I
we've been.
I don't want to drag out too far for everybody.
Mine are just a bunch of random movies that I like watching. So we don't have to discuss them too far. A lot of them just speak for themselves. So one of the ones on my list, I don't have an order for them, is The Shooter with Mark Wahlberg. Don't know what I like about it, but I've watched it so many times and I don't get bored of it.
It's a good ass movie.
Yeah, I mean, basically, dude gets set up from the government and he takes it out and figures out what's going on and takes it into his own hands to figure out who's doing it to kind of set him up, and that's the basis of the movie.
It's really good, Eric. Yeah, I'd watch it. It's really good. I saw it in theaters.
Okay.
Yeah. Next one is a classic, Jurassic Park.
Never go wrong with Jurassic Park.
Spielberg, baby.
Right. I mean, it's just something about it that you like. It's the fascination of having dinosaurs in your today world.
Yeah.
Which is something that I think people are always on the edge of thinking, oh, maybe we should do that, and then this kind of reminds you that it's a terrible idea.
Yeah, exactly. Play God, people.
Exactly.
Never play God, except with ants.
Right.
Yeah.
The next two on my list are comedies. One of them's an animated comedy, which is Despicable Me.
I've actually never seen it.
Really? The first one's good. I think they drug it out with the other two.
Yeah, I agree. The first one is a classic. It's hilarious from start to end. And as Eric said, they shouldn't have continued it. They did, whatever. But I think the first one, if you ever just want to watch something that's funny but also like has a little bit of a good story to it, like most animated movies usually have some sort of tie back for adults to kind of relate to it.
Yeah, it's a good movie that even an adult can watch without having kids.
Right. Which is something that we do on a regular basis. So.
Same here.
The next one is I Love You, Man.
I haven't seen that.
In the
Probably since
basement.
it came out.
Exactly. I just love that. I think it's hilarious. I think the actors in it do a great job of going in and portraying what is a reality for most of us in the nerd world is we usually don't have a lot of friends, if any. So
I have two more of my friends aren't on here, so
right. This call is my friends.
Yeah. There you go.
I have a few others, but they're away right now.
Yeah, if I had Nico and Michael here, I'd be solid.
Right. Other than my fiance, which is obvious.
Yeah, that's
like,
a given.
Yeah. It's just the two that are on this call. Here you go.
Got your back, bro.
Exactly.
We're all you need.
And then the last one, which is, I feel, the most underrated movie in the Christopher Nolan Batman movies, which is Batman Begins.
Yes, thank you. That is my favorite out of all three of those.
My favorite's actually Dark Knight Rises.
Really?
I like Dark Knight Rises, too.
That's a good one, too.
I actually think The Dark Knight, for how good of a movie it is, it's actually one of the weaker movies in the group.
Why? Because it's so good that it takes away from everything else?
I think
Go ahead, Andrew.
I think there's too much going on.
Okay. I agree with that, actually.
So I don't like movies like that. One of the movies that's in the Marvel franchise that's like that is Captain America: Civil War, where you feel like you're thrown around in the world. Like there's different places, there's different times, there's different too much going on. I don't need to know.
Like that one.
Yeah. So I like all three. All three of them are great, but I think Batman.
Trilogy.
Yeah, I think Batman Begins is just a step above, and it doesn't get the credit it deserves because it wasn't as big of an event because it was the first one that they were trying out. So.
Exactly. Yeah. It's the first serious Batman.
Right.
I love Cillian Murphy as an actor, and he did such a great job as Scarecrow. And to see, I don't know if he returned in The Dark Knight, but he definitely returned in Rises, which was really nice to see him.
Yeah.
And to touch on The Dark Knight, I just feel like I'm kind of with Andrew. It's a lot of story.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that Heath Ledger died.
Right.
That makes
that's definitely a big part of it.
Yeah, I feel like, and don't get me wrong, his Joker will never be touched. Although Joaquin Phoenix was
See, I haven't seen the new Joker yet, so I have no opinion on that. I'm still stuck between Nicholson and Ledger.
I'll tell you what, man. Joaquin Phoenix Joker and that movie itself is, and I can't believe the guy from The Hangover is the director of this movie because it is so good. I walked out of that movie blown away, and I actually thought, and I said it to you guys, I thought the trailers looked stupid.
Right.
They did look stupid.
I didn't want to see the movie at all, and I just
Yeah.
went because I was bored that day, and I walked out pleasantly surprised. And I think I gotta be honest, him and Ledger are neck and neck. I mean,
You-
depending on the day, I would say Joaquin.
But
mean-
you got to throw Hamill into that too. I know he only did voice acting, but you got to
Oh, yeah.
throw him in.
Absolutely.
You mean you guys didn't like Jared Leto?
No.
I mean, no,
He did-
I
he-
hated him.
He did what he had to do. Like,
Right.
I don't think like he was like the worst. Like, but like he's just one that like.
I don't
He
think it
was
was his
there.
fault. I think
No,
he was
it wasn't.
right.
It was bad writing.
Right.
Yeah, you know, like I actually wish that like if they would have made him the villain and didn't put all the other bullshit in it, like he probably would be one of the best Jokers because the little snippets I seen, it was good.
Right.
It just, I don't know. It was kind of. I feel like they just did it again. It was one of those moments that they're like, "Hey, the fans are dumb. They need someone that they know," and they stuck the Joker in, expecting that we're gonna think like this is like, oh, they're going after the Joker, and they just did it. And it's
Well,
just like, I don't know.
What they were trying to do, what I call the Twilight method, trying to go with that like odd couple kind of thing to really draw
Yeah.
people into that movie. That's what
Right.
I got out of it when you and me went to go see it.
Yeah, I'm actually shocked that Man of Steel wasn't on there for you, Andrew.
You know, I like it, but all of these are ones that I can throw on and watch whenever I want. Man of Steel, I actually have to I had to pay attention to it.
No,
Fair enough.
I love seeing. It's so refreshing to see like people pick something other than the Dark Knight.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Eric?
more
Great.
late.
All right. So, my number 5 favorite, No Country for Old Men.
Okay.
Movie.
Just because it's a brutal movie.
Yeah.
There's really nothing more I can say on that. It's just a crazy movie. Coen brothers, they're geniuses. So
And it's one of the few movies that the villain and the hero never meet.
exactly, I think that's one of my favorite aspects of it. Plus,
Yeah.
I love the grittiness of it. I love how it's a period piece. It's something different from what I saw prior to that in movies in general. Plus,
Yeah.
It's got easily one of the greatest villains of all time.
Yeah, 100%. And first,
Yeah.
he's an amazing actor.
Oh, absolutely! Like you just can't beat it. Like the whole thing's great.
Yeah.
Number 4, it's A Christmas Story.
Okay.
It's to me, it's one of the funniest movies of all time. Every Christmas, I watch it all day. Like it never gets old. Every scene makes me laugh. My favorite line in that has to be when the dad is downstairs working on the furnace, and you hear him upstairs, and he just screams, "You Monday noodle!" Just the way that he screams it gets me.
Yeah. I met Scott Farkas.
Did you really?
Yeah, it's Zach Ward. He was in Resident Evil. He's the guy in the bath and then Freddy vs. Jason. When he's in
Oh,
the
yeah.
bathtub.
That's
him.
right. Yeah, that's right. It is him.
Yeah, I met him. He's really, really, really nice guy.
Nice. Very nice. So yeah, that's probably my favorite comedy, if I had to break it down like movie wise. Number 3 is Ray, the Ray Charles movie.
Okay.
I was always a big Ray Charles fan because of my grandma, and when that movie came out, it was a big deal for me, kind of. Not just because of the music, but like it was the first time I really got to, in a way, research like a musician's life.
Right.
In a
Didn't
sense.
you do a project on it?
I did. In fact, I have a good memory with you with the project. It was 6th grade for Black History Month, and that's when we had to like come in and kind of put on a presentation, dress up as the person or whatever.
Mhm.
I had you be the guy to walk me into class because I was
Yeah.
pretending to be blind.
Yep. That was a good time.
Yeah, it's a great movie. I think it's Jamie Foxx's best performance he's ever done,
Yeah, he's a great actor.
easily. So yeah, that movie there. And then number 2 is way too obvious. Both you guys should probably know it. Freddy vs. Jason.
Right.
It's
Classic.
It's a classic. Jason's my favorite horror character ever. I've always been hooked on him. It's my favorite look of Jason.
Mm.
Yeah.
Not my favorite actor playing Jason, but it's definitely my favorite look, which definitely helps.
Yeah, I met him.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, Ken Kurziger, really nice guy.
Well, usually the Giants are. But yeah, just everything about it is just great. I love it. it's got my favorite like side character ever, which is the stoner guy.
Right.
Yep.
He's got the best line in all movies, like where he's like, "Man, that goalie was pissed at something." I think it's the greatest line ever.
I think that movie is so influential on our lives
Yeah.
as horror fans because, like, Freddy's my thing. Bro, Freddy and Michael are my number one favorite horror characters ever.
Yeah.
I have, like, I love them, and it was always funny because, like, I think Andrew, you're on Jason's side too.
Yep.
So it was always
Yes.
funny, like, to have like when we watched it, 'cause, like, that was a movie, like, I remember, like, it came out on DVD on my birthday. I never got to see it in theaters because I was young, and all I wanted that year was that movie. And I came home from school and it was right on my island. And I remember I had all my friends that night who slept over, and we watched it.
Yep.
It was the greatest thing in the world to me, man. And it's actually making me rethink my list a little bit.
Yeah.
So I might actually have to swap something out.
We'll come back to that on another episode. Maybe we'll
Yeah.
make a new like revamp.
Revision.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
it.
yeah. I think we could probably have a whole. I mean, honestly, we could have a whole podcast on Freddy vs. Jason. I mean, it's
Easily.
just such an impactful movie for us as horror fans, and
Oh yeah.
and Robert Englund is like one of my idols, and I finally got to meet him, and it was just amazing. I met both of them, Ken and Robert, in that night, so it was amazing.
Mhm.
Nice. Yeah, I'm jealous for that.
Well, actually, not to interrupt you,
Yeah.
I had one of the, and I could send it to Andrew. Maybe you can put the picture up during this as we're talking about it
Sure.
on YouTube. But that day, I got to live out a moment that was probably my favorite moment as a horror fan. Was I took a photo of Robert Englund and Kane Hodder. Kane Hodder was dressed up in the Jason Takes Manhattan outfit, and it was kind of cool because, like, Kane Hodder was always supposed to be the Jason that was supposed to fight Freddy. And again, Ken did an amazing job. I can't even see the movie without Ken.
Yeah, same. But it should have been Kane.
Yeah, but as a horror fan, to be in a photo with Robert and Kane as Jason was just mind blowing. And check out our YouTube video. I'll send it over to Andrew and you guys can see it. As a horror fan, it was one of the greatest moments of my life.
That must have been a big deal right there.
It was.
I'll end talking about this movie with this. It has probably my favorite soundtrack for any movie. I'm a diehard metal fan.
Yep, I bought it.
Just like the rest of us are. It had some great songs. Like one of my all-time favorite bands, El Nino, had one of their best hits on there. Spine Shank, I think Mudvayne was on there too. The movie not only influenced me with horror movies, but with music as well. I think that's why I have a big, like, I was already a huge metal fan before that, but like discovering some of those bands really helped me with the music that I listen to still to this day too. So I think that's a big connection to that as well.
That's exactly what happened to me.
Yeah.
I bought the CD and I never really knew about death metal or thrash metal, and I put it in and it changed me. So I have the same experience. That movie was just incredible.
It still holds up too. Like it's great. In fact, my Jason tattoo I can't wait to get is specifically from that movie. So I can't wait to eventually get that when I find an artist that have money for it. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So what's your number one, buddy?
Blues Brothers.
All right.
John Landis.
1980s The Blues Brothers is my favorite movie of all time. The music is a big part of it because I'm a huge music freak.
Right.
I mean, it's got so many legends in it. Aretha Franklin, friggin' Cab Calloway, Ray Charles is in it. John Candy. I know he's not a singer, but big famous guy. I mean, you had so many A-list actors in it too. Like obviously the main cast, of course, but I wanted to focus on some of the other people that no one really thinks of.
Right.
But the whole story is just interesting. Them trying to save their old orphanage by getting the band back together. The band consisted of some of the most famous blues players. Donald Duck on bass. Who else? I can't remember half of their names right now, but like it was like all legit blues players too. But the story's great. They're going all over Illinois trying to get everybody back together, playing crappy gigs, getting no money. It's just pure comedy the whole time. They have Nazis chasing them. They have the state police chasing them. But it just gets so ridiculous and crazy. You got Carrie Fisher trying to kill John Belushi the entire movie. with a rocket launcher. Like
Yeah.
it's just ridiculous. I recommend it. It's the movie I can watch. If I was on my deathbed and I could only watch one movie, that would be the movie.
Right.
And it also doesn't hurt that John Landis directed it as well.
Exactly. And I always forget that actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So
Yeah.
I'll get through my list pretty quick here. Now at this point, honorable mention Freddy vs. Jason. I just have to stick that out there. But this is in order. My number 5 is The Fog,
Okay.
directed by John Carpenter.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's one of those movies that I really fell in love with as a kid. I remember seeing the DVD cover of like the ghost pirates and the green fog, and I was like, oh, this looks great, and I bought it. And at the time, I didn't realize it was John Carpenter, and that's what made me realize how much I love John Carpenter. There's actually 3 Carpenter films on this list.
Yeah.
That's why Carpenter is my favorite director. Him and George Romero are my favorite directors of all time, because those movies had the most impact. And The Fog was I just think it's the most underrated John Carpenter movie that not many people talk about.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, and to me, the movie is just amazing. Anytime it's foggy out, I watch the movie at this point.
Pretty sure I watched it with you.
You have, yeah, you definitely have.
We've all watched it together before.
Yeah, and I was so happy that because I'm a horror figure collector, that NECA actually released a Captain Blake retro cloth figure, so I to have something for The Fog in my horror figure collection is pretty amazing. So John Carpenter's The Fog is my number 5. My number 4 is John Carpenter's The Thing.
Okay.
Yes.
Which is one of the greatest horror films and intense films I've ever seen, And when I met John Carpenter, I got to talk to him about The Thing, and he said it's the movie he's most proud of and he loves it. And someone asked him at the Q&A who was the Thing at the end of the movie, and he said only 2 people know the answer to that, and it's him and Kurt Russell, and they will take it to their graves.
Good. That's how it should be.
Yeah, that's why I always worry that someone's going to do a sequel and come up with the answer. I don't want a sequel. Although I did.
The prequel was pretty good. Lars was the best.
Yeah, Lars is the man, dude. Akde Moonin.
Oh, yeah. Akde Moonin. I forgot about that.
So then my third favorite movie of all time is the original Dawn of the Dead by George Romero.
Right.
Yeah, obviously I talked about it a million times on this podcast. And then my second favorite movie is the remake of Night of the Living Dead, which is my favorite zombie movie of all time because it's the movie that got me in love with zombies. And then my number 1 is probably obvious because it's the movie that made me in love with slasher films, and that's John Carpenter's Halloween.
It's a solid list.
Yeah, so those are my favorite movies. I stuck to horror because it would be just too hard to put other movies in there that were non-horror, like Star Wars. I can't just pick one. And then first off, like I don't want a whole list of Star Wars. And like there's like 2 movies like I really love, like it's Goodfellas and Shawshank Redemption.
Great movies.
But like I just figured it would be easier to do my horror films because those are what I basically watch, and those are the 5 movies that are most influential to me, and actually 6 when I've had Freddy vs. Jason. Those are the movies that like I can watch any day of the week, and they never get bored to me.
Yeah, see, I had a similar issue making the movie list because like Star Wars and Harry Potter for me, like I can't just pick one.
Yeah, it's hard.
So like I'm not just gonna put like every Star Wars movie combined together as one of them like that.
Exactly.
It doesn't work like that. So, but I say solid list from both of you guys.
Yeah. I mean, narrowing it down to just horror. Sorry, I'm trying to find that photo to send Andrew. Narrowing it down to just horror was made it a lot easier for me.
Right.
The video games were surprising what I thought was gonna be the hardest.
That's what I thought too.
Ended up being the easiest, and I think it's because I don't play many video games. It's probably harder for Andrew than it was for us.
Yeah.
And TV shows, it's like weird. Like you forget certain things, like The Office, which is like weird, wasn't even in my original list.
Yeah.
And me and my girlfriend are walk. She's like, and I told her my list. She goes, "Where's The Office?" I'm like, "Oh my god!" Like you forget. And then Andrew just mentioned South Park. I was like, "Shit, should have been South Park in there." And then
I thought of Dexter, and I was like, "Oh, Dexter should have been on there."
Yeah, I'm surprised Dexter wasn't on next list.
It was that The Office kicked it off.
Gotcha.
It was on there, and just like Freddy vs. Jason, like honestly, like when Eric said that, I'm like, shit, that should have been on my list somewhere too. It's just
right.
Like, you just kind of forget, like, you know what I mean? Like it's just hard.
It is like for movies, like I had to pick between No Country for Old Men and The Illusionist, and I was like, all right, No Country's going on.
Yeah, The Illusionist is great. That's another Nolan film.
Probably Oh my god, I love that movie, but
Yeah.
that's another conversation.
Yeah, I love
Yeah.
Nolan films.
I mean, honestly, too. I don't know if you guys are game, but like next Sunday, if you guys want, we can do a whole video on Freddy vs. Jason.
That's fine.
I'm 100% down.
Yeah, that would be cool because like that's a movie that was very big
Actually,
in all of our childhoods.
Actually, I have an idea to kind of go with that. If you guys are game, I say what we do is we kind of watch it at the same time and do our own commentary to it, like talking about like not just the movie itself, but like how we've been talking about like our favorite movies here, like what maybe a scene means to us or the movie itself. That's
I'm
up to
down.
you guys.
Do you
Whatever
own
you
it?
want.
I don't know if Andrew owns it.
I don't own it, and I don't know what the restrictions are on having that.
Well, we wouldn't show it or even play it. We would just mostly play the sound because I've heard other podcasts do it. They basically just have it playing.
You just can't show the footage.
You can't show the footage, or even like a lot of them don't even play any of it. The only audio or video they have is just us talking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll look into it more, but yeah, if I need to like run it or do whatever, that's fine.
Yeah. I'm cool with the subject.
Yeah, so next Sunday, guys, if you love Freddy vs. Jason, that will be our next show. This episode did go a lot longer. I had fun, but we just had to kind of speed it up towards the end because, I don't want to because I know some people start to get, like, zoned out.
Yeah, we can talk forever, the three of us.
Right.
Yeah, oh, yeah, definitely. So next week, come back. We are going to be putting 2 videos on our YouTube channel because we never got able, technical difficulties, we weren't able to upload last week's video to YouTube.
Right.
We'll be on there as well as this one, and then
I saved it.
Yeah, so just keep an eye out on our YouTube channel. For those who watched, thank you for watching today, and I hope you guys will be here next week. Yeah, so
there you go. There's the picture. I'll have it bigger on YouTube.
Cool. Yeah, I don't know if you guys have anything else to say, but
Nah, I think that's everything on my end.
Yeah, thanks everyone who tuned in. Don't forget, as always, check us out on our socials and all that fun stuff. But we'll catch you next week. See you later. Bye.